Okay, this is actually a good topic. So regarding personality, how important do you guys think personality is in your career? And you can differentiate whether that's just starting out, like your interview, and just actually within your career going up the ladder. Do you think personality is a factor that's important?
In many industries, it is. If you're a hardcore coder, and that's what your success is built on, personality doesn't really have as much effect on your success.
No, agreed. I think it depends on the profession. I think if you're in sales, I think personality is
absolutely
huge, right.
Managing people.
I think if you're managing people, a team, if they like you, if they really like you, they'll die on the hill for you, right, type of thing. So I think when you're in sales and you're managing a portfolio, your clients will call you first on a deal, right? Because they actually like you, right? Yep. So I think it's really important. I think it depends on, what we're talking about in terms of occupation, but I think it's important. I think internally as well as externally.
It is role dependent.
But do we want them to? Do you want to be liked, or do you want to be respected, or do you want to be engaging? Because I think people define being liked very differently. I find, at the start of your career, is it important that your bosses or your peers like you because they think, oh, you know what? She or he they're great. They're engaging. Whenever I need anything, they'll come, I can go to them and they'll help. Okay, cool. But does that mean you're likable, or does it just mean that you're making yourself invaluable, indispensable, right?
Are any of you guys in a hiring capacity?
Yes.
Have you ever hired just based on personality?
Personally, yes, I have. Because even though the resume said one thing and then I had conversation with them, and it wasn't because they were likable, it was because there was something that I saw in their personality. I was like, that's a good fit for us, or they're going to work their backside off for us. But it wasn't necessarily because, oh my goodness, there's such a nice, likable person.
I got you, yeah.
Right? And again, I'm just throwing this out there.
I've fallen for it. I'm not gonna lie. I've been sold like salespeople. I've been sold on personality because I'm in a hiring capacity, and it's a lot of times failed me. For me, actually, I think personality goes a long way in your interview. You can kind of be a charlatan for so long, but to me, what trumps personality every time is habits. I don't care about your personality. What are your habits?
Right.
If you're somebody who says what they do and do what they say, you win my heart. Like in a sales capacity, you can sell, but then I get the bill. It's not like what you told me it was going to be. You were kind of, playing around with me. But if you're a person who just says what they're going to do, and you do it on time, man, like to me, that trumps personality, at least in my working capacity so far. Right. Just people with good habits. I don't know if you guys work with people. They're the ones that tell you they're going to get it done Friday. And you're like, man, this is like, let's all put bets in the office. Like, is he going to get it done? And there's a guy who says he's going to get it done Friday, and he's going to get it done on Thursday. Right. You know what I mean?
Because don't you find as well that there's some people that they are the silent but efficient, or silent and they just get things done, or they're the ones that actually are the life of the party, but you didn't know because they're low key. They get it done, but then you might have a coffee with them and you're like, I didn't even know that their personality was so like, they're nice, or they're funny, or whatever the case is. So I mean, I think all of our answers were I don't think that there's a wrong answer. Because it depends. It depends on so many different things. Sure. However, I will say, and to your point, there have been people that have sold us a bill of goods because they speak well. They look well. They dress well. They smell well, and that's very important. Let's not get that twisted. No. Let's not get. Come on, guys. You know that if somebody smells a little off, you're kind of like, they're not that good. But they might have a medical condition, right? But you know what I mean? I think sometimes we see and hear without really seeing and listening. Right? So the person came into the interview, if we're going based on the start of the career, or maybe they've been with the company for 5 years and they're coming up for a promotion. They come to you and they're ready for promotion, and they sit there and they're saying all the right things. The right answers are coming out there. And maybe you give them the job, and then 2 weeks later you realize, wow, this person is they probably just got their job because they've been here for a long time. And we hired them because it made sense, as opposed to hiring the right person for the job that could actually do the job.
Yeah, that's the
Right?
thing. There's a difference between a battlefield promotion where
Right.
it's like the companies fell apart, this guy quit, that guy quit. Hey, you survived the battle, you're now manager.
Facts.
There's a difference between that
Absolutely.
and hey man, you've earned this and you have the personality. This is where personality can come in. Promotions. Because you could be a silent killer.
Right.
But unfortunately you're silent, right?
Right.
So if you can get things done, but you have a good personality, then I think you have your way to make. So if you're a person who's really introverted, doesn't know how to play what do you call it, politics, but like get yourself in the conversation, then unfortunately you're gonna get lost. Like if you're
You're gonna
someone
be a great worker.
Yeah, but no, hold on. But if you have a great manager,
who
that
identifies-
manager will recognize who you are as a person and be like, you know what, you guys may think that this person says nothing, but I promise you our numbers will go up by 40%. Like, you know what I mean?
I just want to be beholden to just my manager. Depending on how big the company is,
okay.
I don't want to be beholden to the view of that one person.
Fair. Okay.
That's just the way, like, because I've seen it happen where you'll go overshadowed, but I don't know. Yeah,
I think it's a balance, though, right? Like I think you gotta be able to execute, right? Like to your point, Ramy, it's like I've had guys like sell me something and they don't execute. So I think you need to be able to execute, right? It doesn't matter like what your personality is like if you can't execute, right? If you can't perform
Fair.
in your role. But I think like coming from sales, being real, that personality, like where you just can click with your clients on a human level. Right, but also execute. That's like a recipe for success, right? Like
100%.
You know what I mean?
Fundamentally, you got to be able to execute. That's where it starts, right?
So regardless of what your
Because
role is, right? It's like,
if you just have personality, you're not going very far, right?
And
it'll get you a certain length of way, but you got to be able to execute. You got to hit your deliverables, right? Else you'll just be your manager's favorite pet. You're really likable.
and then those people get. I mean, it's a month or two, and you realize that this person is not.
He's not delivering.
They're not. They're not meant for this job,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that gets fleshed out pretty quickly. But I think if you have both, and I think a part of the personality is it's being real, right? Like with your clients, right?
Yes.
Hey, this is like and really connecting with them on a personal level, and I think that personally in my own career, like I feel like it's gone like it's a great sort of combination of executing as well as that personality.
And I like how you said being real, because I think it's also the fact that if you're honest with yourself as an employee or as a potential manager, you tend to have no ego. And what I mean by that is you're able to say, you know what, I really want this job, or I really think I can make a difference, but I don't know everything, but I'm willing to learn. And I'm willing to do the best I can with your assistance, yada, 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 yada. And I think some people have too much ego. And going back to what you guys were saying is that they pretend.
Right.
And then sometimes, depending on the nature of the business, you don't have anybody else to put in that position.
Yeah.
So you almost have to endure that. But if that person is coming in with their ego intact, meaning, you know what, I don't have everything. I don't have all 10, but I got a strong 6. And I promise I'm going to work on the next 4.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'm so double-minded about that. I don't know if I were to pick what is the first personality trait for someone to work on, I probably wouldn't say honesty. I would say communication.
Okay,
so many people
fair.
fail to make the right sounds out of their mouth that people hear and understand. They just don't know how to do it. They can't put the words together.
Right.
And people who fail to communicate, even if you deliver, if you can't communicate it right, you can't communicate what you did, why you did it, how you did it, you will fail. Somebody who knows how to communicate and just present meaning to people and people understand what they mean, I think that would be number one. Honesty, I think it's a good internal trait to have morally. I
wasn't even talking about morals. Actually, I was actually more speaking about
real.
ego. I was speaking about ego.
Yeah, keeping your ego in check.
Not even so much keeping your ego in check, but just understanding that ego has a place, and sometimes ego also has a place to say, you know what, I don't know. As opposed to I know.
See, I would use that internally.
Right?
If you're internally, maybe not outward facing. If internally my ego's in check, I'm gonna go make sure I learn whatever the hell is my downfall, so I can go be the deliverable guy again.
Facts.
But externally, I don't like. I've played that play. There was a time where I was like in my shell, and did not. You know what they say? There's a bias where people who actually know a lot about a topic believe of themselves that they don't know anything, and the people who don't know crap about a topic think they know everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. The guys who don't know crap will present, and I know, like, again, this is all anecdotal, but a lot of people that are very successful that I know, I'm just talking financially very successful, they actually love that guy who, even though they don't know anything, the way they walk and talk and they just say, yeah, don't worry, I got you, I can do this. And you're like, dude, this guy has no experience in this field whatsoever. They somehow, they are able to, get that ear. Because a lot of hyper successful people are also very egotistical.
Absolutely. And you're right about communication. And honestly, I thought that was understood. So my bad.
No,
No, my bad. I would have used that one I would have said instead of, ego, I would have said communicate. But I guess I genuinely believe that communication is always number one on every list
marriage,
of everything.
Work.
And so that's a whole different podcast discussion about different types of communication. Absolutely. We got to do that another day.
But I think going back to your point, I think going back to ego and to what you're connected to before about leadership and management, I think a part of it though, like a lot of good leaders recognize that they're only as good as their team, right? And if you don't like to what we said earlier, like if you don't actually promote the silent, individuals that can execute really well, I think that's ego on the part of the manager, right? Leadership has to understand that, hey, you know what? My team only performs like so well because I have all the parts that perform well together,
right?
And it's to acknowledge that, hey, like, Barb or whoever, like she's quiet, but she's a killer.
Barb.
Yeah. I'm
Sorry to all the Barbies that are, sorry, the Barbs, my bad, that are watching
very
this.
Generic, very generic. But no, but I mean, like, I think to your point, talking about ego relating back to leadership, I think it's really important for them to park that aside and be like, hey, my team's only performed this well because of the parts that make up the team, right?
Absolutely.